Imagine this. You're standing in your mother's kitchen on Christmas Eve. Your hands are covered in flour. 25 guests are laughing in the next room. And your mother walks in, looks at the empty stove, and says, "It's only 25 people. Why haven't you started cooking yet?" That was the moment I realized something. I wasn't their daughter. I was their unpaid help. So instead of arguing, instead of explaining, instead of reminding her that I run a multi-million-dollar business she knows nothing about, I did something no one expected. I took off my apron. And I left, booked a one-way flight, and walked out on Christmas dinner. My name is Lily. I'm 37 years old. And it took me 15 years to stop shrinking myself for people who never even saw me. But this didn't start that night. It started years ago. When I was 22. Fresh out of college. No job. No direction. Living back at home while the world felt like it had shut down. That Christmas. My mother didn't ask me to help. She assigned me. "Dinner is yours," she said. Not because I was the best at it, but because my younger sister was too busy. She wasn't busy. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone. But in our house, she was the priority, and I was available. So I cooked. For 15 people. 2 full days in the kitchen. Every dish from scratch. Every detail perfect. And when the guests arrived, I was still in the kitchen. Apron on. Hands messy. While my father stood in the living room, proudly introducing my sister as the future. Not once did he mention me. That night, something quietly settled inside me. Not anger. Not even sadness. Just a realization. I was invisible in my own family. And the worst part, no one thought that was strange. How long can someone stay invisible before they finally decide to disappear on their own terms? That Christmas wasn't a one-time thing. It became a pattern. Every holiday, every gathering, every celebration, I was in the kitchen, cooking, cleaning, preparing, while everyone else enjoyed. Thanksgiving, I handled the entire meal. Easter, I set everything up. Birthdays, I baked the cake, served the guests, and cleaned after. And my sister, she sat at the table, laughing, talking, being admired. My parents never questioned it. To them, this was normal. She was the future. I was convenient. But something else was happening at the same time. Something they never noticed. In 2012, I started my own business. Small at first. Just me, a laptop, and an idea. Event planning. Not birthday balloons and decorations, but corporate events. Product launches. Conferences. Real clients. Real money. The funny thing, I learned everything in that kitchen. Timing. Coordination. Pressure. Making everything look effortless, while doing everything alone. By 2014, I landed my first big client. By 2018, I had a team, an office, employees depending on me. And still, when I went home, nothing changed. I didn't tell them. Not because I was hiding it, but because they never asked. And after a while, you get tired of explaining your worth to people who already decided it. So I stayed quiet. Built everything in silence. By 2024, my company was making millions. Dozens of employees. High-profile clients. Industry recognition. And yet, the moment I stepped into my parents' house, I was handed an apron. Last Thanksgiving, I had just closed a deal worth more than my father's yearly profit. I walked in, still exhausted from the win. And my mother said, "The turkey needs basting every 30 minutes. No, how are you? No, what's new? No, we're proud of you. Just instructions." And that's when something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. I stood there, holding that apron, and realized something I had been avoiding for years. They didn't see me. Not the real me. And maybe they never would. What happens when the version of you your family believes in is someone you stopped being years ago. 2 days before Christmas. Everything changed. I was sitting in my office, reviewing contracts, when my CFO walked in and said, "You need to see this." It was an email. From a company worth billions. They wanted to work with me. Not just a small project. An exclusive partnership. Value. Over $2 million. But there was one condition. The CEO wanted to meet me in person. December 24th. Christmas Eve. I stared at the date. Out of all days. It had to be that one. If I missed it, the deal was gone. Given to my biggest competitor. This wasn't just money. This was growth. Reputation. Opportunity. Everything I had worked for over a decade. So I said yes. Booked the flight. Prepared for the biggest meeting of my life. And that's when my phone buzzed. My mother. Call me. Important. I already knew what it meant. Not concern. Not care. A request. I called anyway. And within seconds. She said it. Christmas plans changed. We're hosting 25 people. I need you here early. I closed my eyes. Here we go again. I can't, I said. I have a business trip. She laughed. Actually laughed. Business trip. For what? Another small event. Something inside me tightened. It's important. Nothing is more important than family, she snapped. Stop being selfish. That word. Selfish. The one they used every time I chose myself. I'm not coming, I said. Silence. Then cold, sharp words. If you walk out on this family, don't bother coming back. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. I'm going to Miami, I said. And I hung up. Minutes later, texts started coming in. My sister. My father. Blame. Anger. Guilt. You ruined Christmas. You never show up. You're selfish. I looked at the messages. And for once, I didn't explain. Didn't defend. Didn't shrink. I just deleted them. That night, I packed my bag. Along with something else. Proof. A magazine. An article about my company. About me. Not for them. For myself. To remind me. I wasn't crazy. And as my plane took off, leaving the city behind, I made a quiet promise. I was done being the version of me they were comfortable with. What happens when the person your family depends on finally stops showing up? While I was signing the biggest deal of my life, back home, everything was falling apart. Christmas Eve. 5:30 p.m. Guests arriving. Lights on. Music playing. The house looked perfect. Except for one thing. There was no food. No turkey. No dishes. No preparation. Just an empty kitchen. Because for the first time in 15 years, I wasn't there. Panic set in. Phone calls. Last-minute attempts. But it was too late. No caterers available. No backup plan. By the time guests sat down, all they had were store-bought meals. Cheap. Rushed. Incomplete. And then, the most important guest arrived. The CEO. The same woman I had just signed a $2.1 million contract with. Hours earlier. She walked into my parents' house, expecting elegance. Instead, she saw chaos. And then everything changed. One guest pulled out their phone and showed a post. A photo of me, shaking hands with that same CEO. Wait, someone said. Isn't that your daughter? Silence. My parents stared at the screen. Confused. Shocked. Then the CEO spoke. Calm. Clear. That's Lily. I just signed a major contract with her company this morning. The room froze. A company. Not a hobby. Not a joke. A business worth millions. And suddenly, the invisible daughter was the most important person in the room. Questions started. Why didn't you tell us? She runs a company. She was in Forbes. My parents had no answers. Because they never asked. And in that moment, everything they believed about me collapsed. Not because I proved them wrong, but because I stopped trying to prove anything at all. That night, they called me, over and over. I didn't answer, because for the first time, I wasn't chasing their approval. I was finally living without it. Sometimes, the only way to be seen is to stop showing up where you were never valued.